Hey guys, this is Robert here. Just showing a video here in Flight Simulator 10 on flying the P51 Mustang. There isn't really a lot of videos out there showing people how to actually fly this particular aircraft, and it took me a while to kind of figure it out on my own through experiences of other flight simulators that I've been playing. And when I first was starting out in this game, this was one of the first planes I wanted to fly around. You know, it's a P51 Mustang. Who wouldn't want to fly it around anyway? And come to find out, it is very difficult to fly. I think the first time I even took off from the runway, yeah, I don't even think I made it off the runway. It just blew up instantly. Um, and then, of course, then I figured out how to actually control the thing properly, and that's what I'm going to try to demonstrate today. And let's go ahead and get started. First off, it's very important that you actually assign some keys to your keyboard. The biggest one is going to be right down here. See the little switch to the right of the stick there. It says ADI. ADI stands for anti-detonation injection, and with this engine, how it's set up is it's actually uh, twice as powerful as the original P51 Mustang, twice the horsepower. And so you actually have to cool the combustion chamber down because there's too much pressure and heat that builds up inside. And the anti-detonation injection actually sprays in a fluid of contents I don't know which of, but it actually keeps the fuel from detonate. The fuel itself that goes in, it actually reduces the volume of the fuel inside, so it still keeps the compression up because it's a fuel that cannot be compressed but does not actually ignite, so that it actually helps reduce the temperature inside the combustion chamber. And then another big thing is definitely have set assigned keys to your prop pitch on this plane. Extremely important. The prop pitch here, it's kind of right there on the other side of this throttle here. There's the throttle lever, and then the prop pitch here, I have it set to increase and decrease here. I just set it to my plus and minus key here on my number pad, so it keeps me from getting confused at which way I'm wanting to do the prop pitch. But of course, when you're on takeoff, just leave the pitch all the way up and increased. But as we go into flight, you will want to decrease that prop pitch to keep the RPMs down, which you will see it's on this gauge right there on that manifold pressure. Well, that's the manifold pressure, but I mean, as far as the RPMs, which is the center one, you want to keep that within the green there. Obviously, you can see the colors there, but you don't want the RPMs to go up too high in this plane, even with the anti-detonation ignition on. Otherwise, you'll blow it up. But let's go ahead and I'm sure this has already taken long enough, so I'm going to go ahead and add a notch of flats, and we'll get this guy in the air. Now again, because of the high horsepower on this particular aircraft, you do not need full 100% throttle on takeoff. Depending on the length of the runway, on longer runways, you can get away definitely with 50% throttle, sometimes even less, depending on the length. On shorter runways, you might want to push it up a little bit more. Now, I'm flying on a very short runway. This is one airport that's actually in my hometown of Washington, Missouri. I chose this area location to fly in not just because it's my hometown, but it's a very small town, not a lot of buildings for the game to draw, therefore doesn't hurt the frame rates too bad while recording in this game here. And everybody knows that Flight Simulator is a very frame rate hog. But let's go ahead and get this accelerated here slowly. And again, just right there, as you see, I'm at about 50% throttle. Not much at all. My RPMs, you know, are a little bit higher that you see there, but that's just for takeoff, of course. Push that nose down. Oh boy, this is a pretty short runway. And throttle it just a little bit more just to get this thing up in the air. gears up here. And now already at this point you can see the RPM's up high, so I'm already decreasing that throttle. Again, we really want to get the RPMs down. I'm going to throttle myself back now that I'm in the air, and I'm sure once you get the hang of this, you can do better than I am. I'm just kind of doing pretty sloppily right now at this point, but again, biggest thing is to keep the RPMs down, especially if you're just kind of at level flight and you're not really yet in going into speed mode. And at this point, haven't had to turn on the anti-detonation ignition as of yet. But then, of course, when you are ready to do that, and you have your RPMs on your prop pitch actually set, and again, still just at 50% throttle. When you're ready to throttle up, just go ahead and hit the switch. Now I got the button macro to, or the switch, the anti-detonation switch, macro to key right here on my joystick, so I don't actually have to look for it on the keyboard. Well, we're going to go ahead and hit that, turn the anti-detonation on, and go ahead and throttle it up. Now I usually go into, and it's not even up all the way, I throttle up usually trying to stay in the green on that manifold pressure with the anti-detonation. I don't know if that's what that actually is for, and I'll try to point to it here with my arrow. I don't know if that's what that means. I'm not a pilot in real life, and I definitely wouldn't know anything about as far as what that means on this particular aircraft in real life, but I kind of just use that as an indication that if your anti-detonation, or I'll just go ahead and just say ADI for short, is on, then I would think that would be a safe range to operate in. And as you can see here, the RPMs are still very low. I'm still not even at 100% throttle. RPMs are kind of right there in between the green and the yellow, but most thing, or the best thing to concentrate on, is your speed. As you can see, I'm flying, pretty fast. I know it doesn't feel like it, especially compared to like when you're in the jets. I know for me, but the speed is up, the RPMs are staying low, and the engine sounds good. You're not getting that explosion like I know most of the people and myself definitely have when first flying this plane. And of course at times, whenever you do need to do some major throttling up, especially if you're going to be doing any kind of getting some altitude and you need to do a quick burst, you can throw it up to a maximum. But even with the anti-detonation, the ADI on, you really don't want to keep that on for long. I've tried that out in the past, and I'll even throttle this back. When it's not needed, just turn the ADI off, so you don't go through that liquid too fast. That type of pretty much the ADI. You don't want to go through that too fast. It will eventually get eaten up. But now I'm starting to lose my train of thought. But but yeah, anytime like you're wanting to do big maneuvers, definitely gaining altitude, especially in those air races in the game, you really kind of want to just stay away from 100% throttle for the majority of the time. 75% throttle with the ADI on is about where that green is, and that gives you plenty of speed that this plane will be able to handle. And again, just when you're wanting to do those particular maneuvers, if you see you're bleeding off airspeed, if you need that extra boost, ramp it up to 100% for that short amount of time, but then bring it back down whenever it's possible. Otherwise it will blow. And now for just a demonstration, let's go ahead and blow the plane like how most of us have already done before. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the ADI off. I'll ramp the prop pitch up too high, for those who don't know that you're supposed to bring that down. I know when I was first started off, I didn't know anything about that, like prop pitch, and that all just came with time and learning. But when I first started this game, I didn't have a clue. All I did was throttle up 100% and go, and then that's what got me in trouble. And there we go. You could already hear the engine without the ADI on. I had it up to 100%, and yep, there it is. We have flame out. It is on fire, and this is about how it was for me, not even 10 feet off the ground with this plane starting out. but never got it up in the air, which was really disappointing for me because, well, it's an awesome plane and I wanted to fly it. So I just wanted to show this video. For those out there, if you have any questions or comments, I'm sure I've missed out on some stuff. You know, I'm not an expert, not a real pilot in real life, and I'm definitely not an expert when it comes to flying simulators. But I thought I'd at least kind of put this out there for those who are just looking for some information on this plane, at least to try to get it off the ground. But again, yeah, if you have any other questions or comments, just post it below and I'll try to answer it as quickly as I possibly can. And as you can see, I'm not going in for a crash landing very well. So let's see what we can do here. And then I'll try to answer back on your questions or comments and maybe even kind of do a redo or a part 2. Oh, and there we go. And I'm dead. But yeah, again, just any questions or comments, just go ahead and post below and fly safe.